8 Abandoned towns you shouldn't visit at any cost. Centralia, Pennsylvania. Like something that seems straight out of a nightmare, the coal fire burning under the town of Centralia, Pennsylvania, has been raging ever since 1962 and might burn for another 250 years. An attempt to also clean up the local landfill had lit the coal seams under the very surface of this small Pennsylvania town. In the years that the fire has burned, residents have gradually abandoned their homes, fearing not just the fire beneath their feet but sudden sinkholes and harm from carbon monoxide. Eminent domain had been used to take control over most of the homes located in Centralia, and the dozen or so remaining residents even agreed to give their property over to the government when they ultimately pass away. The state government finally condemned Centralia back in 1992. Pripyat, Ukraine. Welcome to what is arguably the worst atomic power mishap ever. Reactor No. 4's core located at the Chernobyl atomic plant burst back in late April of 1986. And Pripyat's almost 50,000 residents had been forced to leave from the fallout in the days immediately following this. Nature has since taken back this city, but it's still highly contaminated. The radiation has fallen enough for people to take guided tours through all the apartments, amusement parks, and much more. North Brother Island, New York. An abandoned island located near New York City? Absolutely. This 20-acre island situated in the East River was built up due to its isolation. Riverside Hospital had been built here in the late 1800s to quarantine people diagnosed with smallpox. It was even the residence of Typhoid Mary during her final years. By the 60s, it was completely abandoned, leaving the trees to take over all the buildings. The city has extremely restricted access to the island, and potential visitors will have to apply and be accepted before attempting to even set foot on the island. Plymouth, Montserrat. Folks traveling to the Lesser Antilles might fly right past Plymouth, Montserrat, and with very good reason. This capital city was vacated back in 1995 because of a volcanic eruption that was said to take place. About 2 years later, the Soufriere Hills volcano blew its top, covering Plymouth in nearly 40 feet of ash. Visits to the area are allowed, but it depends on safety levels as the volcano is still active. If the alerts are too high, you will still be allowed to take a boat tour. Kolmonskop, Namibia. Back in 1908, Kolmonskop was quite a happening town. That was when the first diamond was discovered in the area. And not long after, there was also a casino, movie theater, ice factory, school, and other modern goodies, but the city soon began to see its population shrink as the diamond supply began depleting. Now, most of the buildings have sand that is tall enough to cover your knees. Tours are generally available, but you do need a permit to enter this area. Wittenoom, Australia. Founded in 1946, Wittenoom was first born as a mining town down in Western Australia. The nearby gorge was first brimming with blue asbestos, important raw building material, during the early 20th century. By the early 1950s, Wittenoom was known as the largest town in the Pilbara region. Due to the growing health concerns, the declining demand for asbestos eventually led to the mine closing back in 1966, with most of the residents moving to other places to find work. Due to the type of mining that had taken place here, asbestos fibers are still discovered in the topsoil as well as the air around Wittenoom, making it unsafe to spend too much time in the town. Bodie, California. During the late 1800s, Bodie was once a mining town that was packed with people busy trying to get in on all the success of the infamous California Gold Rush. For nearly 17 years, it was a small mining camp that was filled with a variety of people. Rough winters, illnesses, and mining incidents led to the demise of many of Bodie's inhabitants. By 1882, the population considerably declined as mining companies eventually became bankrupt and people looked for better opportunities. However, by 1940, Bodie had become a ghost town. In 1962, the California State Parks system had taken over Bodie to turn it into a state historic park. Kennecott, Alaska. You're going to have to truly want it to visit this abandoned city. Kennecott produced almost $200 million worth of copper ore from 1911 right till 1938. When the copper ran out, so did all the residents. You will find out why as you drive down the almost 60-mile dirt road to see this deserted Alaskan town right in the middle of Wrangell Street. When the time is right, it is suggested that you visit the town with a guide directly from the National Park Service to get beautiful views.